Good morning, everybody. It is a rainy, cold morning. What a better time than any to cook and learn how to cook and experiment with cooking. We're also doing our shelter in place during the coronavirus, and so we're also getting a lot of time to adventure in our cooking classes. So today we're going to cook crunchy sweet granola, and here's our recipe. And this granola has a magic ingredient, and I didn't believe it until I made it, and it is really good, and I think you guys are going to like this. Granola makes a great cereal in the morning. You can sprinkle it on your regular cereal. You can also have it as a snack in the afternoon. It's a great topping for yogurt or ice cream or anything else. It's got healthy oats in it, so it's lots of fiber, lots of grains. So let's just go over our equipment and our ingredients. So we have our measuring cups and spoons. We need a beater this time if you have a hand beater. And a small bowl for the liquid ingredients and a large bowl for the dry ingredients. And I've gone ahead and measured some things to save time, but let's go through the ingredients. So here are the rolled oats. I use Bob's Mill regular oats. They're rolled oats. They're not instant oats. This is quinoa. And then here are some optional ingredients. We've got wheat germ, golden flaxseed meal, which is ground, which is actually better because your body digests it a lot better than these whole flax seeds, but sometimes you can add these just for extra crunch. Chia seeds. And then here's the secret ingredient is actually the liquid from a can of garbanzo beans. It's called aquafaba. I had never heard of this before until my sister told me about it, and it is amazing. So we'll tell you how to do this later, but this is what makes it crunchy. It's also healthy. And then some vanilla, some cinnamon, our fabulous New York maple syrup, and then optional are your nuts. I've got sunflower seeds. These are raw. It's also really good with chopped up almonds, or you can put in other seeds or nuts. And then after it's cooked, you can add things like dried cranberries or goji berries or something like that after it's cooked. So the first step, after you measure all your ingredients, and as you can see from the recipe, you can have the basic ingredient is oats, and you could just make it with plain oats. But what makes it really interesting is when you add these other things. And so I've put you can put 2 to 4 tablespoons or more of all of these different things. Oh, I forgot to introduce my sous chef, who has decided to be quite vocal this morning because she doesn't like being cooped up in the rain either, although she kind of likes this shelter in place business because we're home all the time now. And so we're just here to play with her. So it's pretty good. Yeah, there she goes. Oh, and the last thing I forgot is, of course, your timer, because we're going to be baking today. And when you bake things, yes, you have to pay more attention to your timer. So the first thing we're going to do is we turn on the oven to 325, not too hot. It's a slow roast. And then we have measured the quarter cup of aquafaba in here, and I've already started beating it. But look at this. It looks like an egg white, but it is not an egg white. And so by beating this, it gets foamy. And as the instructions say, you beat this until it gets foamy. And I think that's good. And then you're going to add to this the other liquid ingredients, which is the vanilla, which is optional, but I really like adding a little vanilla. I think it adds to the flavor. So you've got a teaspoon of vanilla. Throw that in. And then I also like cinnamon. while we're doing the spices. But I'm going to add the cinnamon to the dry ingredients because you typically, when you're baking, you mix the dry ingredients together and the wet ingredients together separately. And then the most important thing is the sweetener, and that is this wonderful maple syrup. Now, I don't like mine too sweet. I'm not sure I'm going to add all of that, but let's add most of that. And then we're going to beat it again just to mix all of those together. It's already starting to smell good. I can smell it. I think it's the cinnamon and the vanilla. And then we're going to get a nice large spoon out and make sure that that cinnamon is mixed into the dry ingredients. So what I've put into mine today, I've put a little bit of everything. I put in about a 1/4 cup of quinoa. I find that when that gets toasted with the oatmeal, it's really nice. It's crunchy. I've added some wheat germ, some of the chia seeds, and some of the flaxseed meal. So then all we do is we take the liquid ingredients and we're going to mix it in. And you might want to come over here so you can see how this gets. We stir it up and we keep just making sure that we get all of those oats nice and moist. So the idea is you want that to be moist, and that's what allows it to get crunchy. And this isn't, I might need a little more liquid. We'll see how we did. But you've got to mix it really thoroughly to get everything coated with the aquafaba and the maple syrup. And I think I may need to add the rest of this just because I need a little bit more liquid. So nobody's going to object about it being a little sweeter, I know. And I know you guys like sweet. I would suggest starting with this, what's in the recipe, and see how you like it. And if you want to make it sweeter next time, you can, but you don't want it too sweet. You don't want to start your day with breakfast that's overly sweet. So now, getting ready to cook it, we've got a cookie sheet that's about this big. I've covered it with parchment paper because it makes cleanup so much easier. And you spread it. Now I'm making a bigger batch than I did last time, so I might need to get another smaller cookie sheet because you want it to be, you don't want it to be too thick. You want it to be spread around so it gets cooked evenly. And I'll put that on a smaller cookie sheet in a minute. But let's just get this spread around the pan so it's even. And then we pop it in the oven and we set the timer. And that's it. And it cooks for about, I set the timer for 20 minutes and test it and make sure that it's not getting too warm around too brown around the edges. Put the light on in there. And that's it. And we'll come back when it's done.